Hello everyone, welcome to GB Ready Automation World. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go and subscribe to the channel, enable notification so that whenever I will post the video, you will not miss out the notifications. Right, today I came up with JPMorgan says interview questions and answers for the Selenium interview. Right, here I have combined all the rounds interview questions in the single. Right, I have merged all the questions and in a detailed way and different sections to understand easily. Right. Here, these are all the questions I have gathered from my students who are attended. Right. Two technical here, it happened two technical rounds, one manager, one HR round. Right, fine. We'll start with the Selenium interview questions. Right. Most of the questions maybe you are aware of it. Right. Whichever question you are aware of it and confident to explain in the interview, you can skip that question. You can move to next question. Right. What are the methods available in the expected conditions class? Right. What is the expected condition class? Usually we will use with the explicit wait, fluent wait, different conditions. Based on the some condition, we will wait for the element. In expected class, to wait for different conditions, suppose I want to wait for element visibility, element to be clickable, alert is present, number of windows to be framed to be available. There are different methods available in this. We'll quickly see into this. It is expected conditions is a class. It has a set of preconditions with explicit wait. Right, we'll see element to be clickable. These two are overloaded methods. Right. You already know what is overload. Method name will be same, arguments will be different. Element to be clickable. Waits until the element to be visible. Right, visibility of. Visibility of. That means wait until the element to be visible. Invisibility. Invisibility means sometimes we will get a when our application is loading, some round symbols will come. All right. If it is taking application is taking some time, it will come some symbols to inform us it is still working on it. So to wait for invisibility of element, we can use the invisibility of presence of element located. Wait until element is present in the DOM, not necessarily visible. Maybe it might be a hidden element also. Presence of element located. Staleness of waits until the referenced element is no longer attached to the DOM. It is like some negative condition. You want to wait for staleness of element to be selected. Wait until the element is selected. For radio button checkboxes, we will use it. Element state to be. Element state to be either selected or not selected. We can also use this method. Then next question is what is the difference between hard wait and implicit wait? We know there are different types of wait, hard waits and dynamic waits. Hard wait we will use a thread.sleep. Hard wait we will use a thread.sleep. Dynamic waits we can use implicit wait, explicit wait, fluent wait. These three type of waits we can use. Sometimes they will ask what are the different types of waits, what are the difference between them. Sometimes they will ask to write the mostly they will ask explicit wait and fluent wait syntaxes. What is the hard wait and implicit wait? For hard wait, we have to use the thread.sleep. Hard wait means what? It will stop the execution until the given time. Suppose I have given thread.sleep 10 seconds. Execution will stop until that time. Suppose if element is visible within 2 seconds, but still it will wait 10 seconds because it is a hard wait. Suppose if it is element is taken more time, 10 seconds after 10 seconds, it will stop. So hard wait is by using the thread.sleep. It will wait until the time, whatever time we have given. But a dynamic wait, implicit wait, it applies on the globally because we will apply on the driver weight. So for each and every element, it will be applicable. How to write? Sometimes interviewer ask what is the syntax for it. Driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicitly wait. Duration of seconds, we have to give how many seconds. If we give 30 seconds, it is applicable for all the elements. What is the advantage of this? The advantage of implicit wait, you have given 30 seconds. If element is available within 2 seconds, it will wait only 2 seconds. Suppose if it is taken some longer time, 20 seconds, it will wait only 20 seconds only. Whatever max time we will give, that's it. If element is not available after 30 seconds also, it will throw the exception. No such element exception. Right? So mostly this is the static wait and dynamic wait. Mostly we will not use the thread dot sleep. At 100% we will not use. Very rare cases we will use it. Okay. Then what is the use of actions class? Right. What is the use of actions class? If you want to actions class by using mouse actions, keyboard actions. If you want to perform by using the actions class, if you want to perform mouse actions, keyboard actions, like how user will perform. You want to click on the menu, right? We will first mouse over and then click on the child menus. Similarly, if you want to do as manual, how user will click on it, same way actions class will verify it. Right. Mostly we will use for mouse actions and the keyboard actions like mouse hovering, drag and drop, double click, right click, key presses. If you want to control shift, control A, control C, copy paste. Same thing we can do by using the actions class. The actions class helps to simulate real user behavior. It will simulate the real user behavior on the element. We can do move to element, click. We can also click, double click, context click. Context click means right click. Drag and drop. If you want to drag from source to destination, we can do drag and drop. Click and hold, release, send keys down and up. If you want to press Control A, Control C, we can use key up and key down. Build, it will build the multiple actions in a single into a single action. Perform, it execute the build action. Suppose if you see here, move to element dot perform. We must call perform. Then only it will mouse over. Just if you do actions dot how to create actions equal to new action, we have to pass the driver object. And actions dot move to element. Just if you write move to element, it will not work. We have to do the perform. Then only it will perform the action. Mouse over. Drag and drop. Right, we have to identify the source and target. Suppose sometimes it will be inside a frame. We have to switch to the frame. Suppose if it is there. If it is not there, not required. Drag and drop, how we will do? What is the source and target? We have to identify. We can use the drag and drop source target perform. Keyboard actions, how to do? Suppose Control A. I want to copy Control A, not Control A, select. Actions dot key down. How manually you will do? You will press the Control key, then A, Control A, same way. Control key down. First we have to do key down, keys dot control. Send keys A dot key up. Again key up. Control key up. Control A. Key down. What is the key we want to press? And then again key up. It will perform like a Control A. Then you want to copy Control C, Control P. Whatever we want to, all the mouse actions, keyboard actions we can do by using the actions class. The next one is how do you handle disabled elements? Disabled elements, if you want to interact with the disabled elements, we can, such elements cannot be interacted with directly. We cannot interact with them by using click and send keys. It will throw exception. So what element not interactable exception? Suppose for disabled elements, if you try to click on it send keys, we will get element not interactable exception. How to handle disabled elements? By using the JavaScript. Right. Mostly we will use JavaScript, and then we can remove the disabled attribute. We can disable the remove. We can remove by using JavaScript executor that property disable. Right. For that element, we can remove the disabled property. Use this only when you are testing UI behavior, not to bypass real validation logic. Right. Not to set value directly. We can also set, if you want to set the value to the element by using JavaScript executor document.get element by id email dot value. We can also directly set for disabled elements value directly. Right. Sometimes elements initially disabled, it become enabled dynamically when we mouse over. Sometimes just if you mouse over or then click on it, right? Or sometimes it will take some time to enable it. Right, then we can wait until it is enabled. Suppose sometimes we want to mouse over, then only it will enable. Then we can mouse over to the element and then do the operation. Right, based on the how element will be enabled, the accordingly we have to write the code. Right, what is the Windows? Right, Windows means whenever we will click any link, if we click on it, it will open suddenly new tab or new window. Either it will open in a same browser, new tab, or separate window. When you open the browser using Selenium, that browser instance is called a window. If your application opens multiple tabs or pop-ups, each of those is treated as a separate window by Selenium. Each window will have unique identifier that is called a window handle. Right. Initially, before opening the window, right, that is called a parent window. Once we click on any element, it is opening a new window that is a child window. What are the different methods we have? Get window handle. That means current window ID it will return. Current window ID. Get window handles. It will return set of string. That means all the open window IDs. All the open window IDs. How to switch to window directly? If child window any element is there, you want to get the text of it or you want to do some operations on the child window. Without switching, we cannot do anything. We have to switch to it. Switch to window and then child window handle. We can whichever window we want, we can pass the handle, switch to that and perform the action and again come to parent. Close. Driver.close, it will close the current window. If you have two windows, driver is pointed to whichever window, either parent or child, it will close it. Close method. Quit method, it will close all the windows. Quit method will close all the windows. If you want to switch to child window, how you will switch to it? First, before opening the child window, we will get the parent window ID. Then click on some element. Then it will open the window. Now get all the windows. Simple for loop by using simple for loop. And then if condition. If this current window is not equal to parent window. Current window not equal to parent window. Then switch to that. That is a child window. Very simply if condition. And do the action. If you want to close it, close the child window or keep it. Suppose again you want to switch back to parent window, we can switch to parent window. Driver dot switch to dot window parent window. Again you want to switch to child window, you can switch to it without, don't close in that case. If you are completed your actions, then close. Otherwise keep it like that. What are frames? Right, what are frames? Right, in Selenium frames are like a In the web page, to separate the web page, in the main page, suppose some websites, it will show some advertisement or special images, sometimes images in the web page whenever you open any website. So they want to change every day one important message they want to show. That they will keep it as a frames. It is very easy for the we can change update the content easily in the frames. So that is the part of the web page. Frame means okay inside a frame. If element is inside a frame, directly we cannot like Windows. If the element is inside a frame, we cannot directly interact with them. We cannot directly interact with them. We have to switch to the frame, then only we can. Here, frame means window means if you click, it will open a window. We know, but a frame's not like that. Right? It will not visible. Basically, it will not visible. Right? How to identify frames then? Sometimes what will happen? We will identify manually, but in automation it will fail. In automation, it will throw always no such element exception. Then we have to remember maybe it is inside a frame, then we need to check it whether it is inside a frame or not. How to switch to the frame? Frame means it will have a tag iframe like this frame. How to handle the frame? We can handle in multiple ways, either by index. We can pass from it starts from 0. We can pass the 0, 1, 2, 3. Or name or ID. Frame will have a some name or ID. Right here it has a ID. Sometimes it will have a name. Or if it don't have ID name, we can identify web element. We can get the web element and we can also pass it. Right? We can switch to frame 3 ways by using index, by using name or ID, by using web element. Now, if you want to switch to parent frame, not parent frame, page main window. Once we switch to child frame, once we switch to main page to frame, again if you want to come back to main page, then driver.switch to default content. Don't confuse about it. Sometimes what will happen, windows and frames, so some people will confuse. This method is applicable for only for frames, not for windows. Driver.switch to default content. It will switch back to main page. Sometimes the nested frames will be there. Parent frame, child frame. Parent frame, child frame. If you want to switch to the child frame directly, we cannot switch. First we need to switch to parent frame, then only child frame. First we need to switch to parent frame, then only we can switch to child frame. Right, directly we cannot switch to child frame. Once you are in a child frame, if you want to switch back to parent frame, then we can driver.switch to parent frame. If you are in a child frame, you want to switch to parent frame, we can switch. If we want to from child frame, we can directly switch to default page, main page also. Right, driver.switch to default. But while entering into the frame, we have to follow parent child. But while coming back, directly we can come to the main page. Directly we can come to main. How do you take a screenshot? Right. How do you take a screenshot? I think everyone know aware of it by using the take screenshot. We have a take screenshot interface. It has a method. Right. It has a method get screenshot as take screenshot. How to create the take screenshot interface object by typecasting to driver. Take screenshot, typecast the driver, then dot get screenshot as output type file. If you want a base 64, we can convert to base 64. Right, or bytes. If you want to get the bytes, we can also output type as a file or base 64 or bytes. 3 ways it will support. And here we are using the file. It will generate the file, copy that file to destination. And it is stored in the temporary memory. We have to copy to our local system. And we have to switch to some location by using file utility.copy file. Right, we can take the screenshot in bytes, output type as bytes. It will return the byte array. Base 64. Base 64, we can take a output type base 64, it will return a base 64. Directly we can embed in the report, extent report or Alluri report, whatever report you are using, directly we can embed it. It will not generate any physical screenshot. But in file, if you use the file type, it will generate the physical. Right here, it will not generate any physical format, so we will not get any path issues. That usually we will see some path issues in local. In local, report is showing images. Sometimes we will get issue if we are running from the CI/CD. Images will not show. In local, it's working fine. CI/CD not working fine. To avoid that one, we can use the base 64. So directly we can pass this string to in the report. If we attach instead of file, it will also show the screenshot. So we can save some space. Right, in the Selenium 4, we can take a web element screenshot also. Right, in Selenium 3, we only page screenshot, but in Selenium 4, they have introduced a screenshot for web element. See, you can create the web element or find element. On the element, you can also call the get screenshot. The element screenshot also we can take it. If you want to take the screenshot whenever failure happen, interview, they will ask how to take the screenshot whenever test case is failed. Then we can take it in a after method. You can use the listeners or annotation after method. Here I test results, result.failure. If result.get status is failure, then take the screenshot attached to the report. Right. Similarly, what is the JavaScript? Similarly, JavaScript executor also a interface. We have to typecast how to create the object of a JavaScript executor. We have to typecast it. Sometimes directly we cannot click on direct methods will not work. Click method will not work, or you want to scroll down page up and down. In those cases, we can use the JavaScript executor. It has a execute script method. It has a execute script, execute async script. We have a methods. How to create by typecasting the JavaScript executor driver instance to JavaScript executor. We can create the JavaScript executor object. It has execute script method, window.scroll by. If you want to scroll down 500 pixels, window.scroll by. X-axis is 0. I want to scroll down, up and down. This is down. If you keep it as a minus 500, it will move up. It will move up. If you want to click on an element, arguments of 0 dot click. And then we have to pass the element, arguments of 0 dot click and then button. If you want to enter the text, arguments of 0 dot value, we can enter text in the element. If you want to highlight the element, sometimes it will be useful. Which element you are interacting with. We can highlight by using execute script, arguments of 0 style border, something. We can give some 3px solid, right? What is the element? And we can also highlight, we can get the title, document.title, written document.title. We can use for all these JavaScript. Then coming to write a program to select a drop down value, ensuring that different option is selected each time. Here, what they are asking, every time when I execute the script, make sure it should select every time different option. every execution, how to choose the different option. Correct. How to choose that? Okay, first create the select class object and then get all the options. And then how to first we need to generate the random number. What is the size of the total options? Right, 0 to options -1. We have to generate a random number between these start index and end index. Between start index and index. How to by using the random class? What is the max size total options? 0 to total option -1. It will generate a random index. Do while if it is not equal to previous index, last index. If it is in a same execution, it will work in the same execution. But if you execute in a different index, we don't know what is the last index. If interviewer asking like that, for every execution, I want to select different, then first then whatever we have selected, we have to store it in a file. Otherwise, we don't know which one we have selected. We have to store it in a file. When the next execution started, we can read from the file. We can read from the file which one is the select need to execute. Already what are the selected and then select the remaining one. What are the different types of exceptions you have faced? Right, what are the different types of exceptions you have faced? In Selenium automation exceptions are generally fall under two categories. Right, we will have a Selenium exception, Java exceptions. While automating Selenium test cases using Java with Selenium, we will have two types of exceptions. Selenium related exceptions, Java related exceptions. What are Selenium related exceptions? No such element exception, tail element reference exception, element not interactable exception, element clickable and click interceptor exception, timeout, no such frame, no alert is present, invalid selector, session not created, WebDriver. These are all Selenium exceptions. Coming to Java exception, we will get null pointer, number format, array index out of bounds, file not found, IO exception, interrupted exception, illegal argument. These are all the different exceptions we have to see. How do you verify color of an element before and after click? Maybe sometimes they will ask, is it possible to handle the color? We can also handle that. How to get color of the element? First identify the element, then button dot get CSS value, background color. Get the before clicking, get the color of the what is the color of it? Get CSS value, background color attribute. Then if you want to get again, after click again we will get the color of it. If both colors are equal, it is got equal, otherwise not equal. If it will return in a RGB format. If you want to convert to hexadecimal, we can convert. We can convert to hexadecimal format. Right. Sometimes they will ask why you want to use it. I verify color changes by fetching the element CSS property before and after performing an action. Get CSS value background color. Sometimes we requirement we will get to validate the color. The next question is, if two elements are identified, how do you select the last element using CSS selector? Is it possible to select the last element in CSS? Okay, by using pseudo classes, we can last of type last child. By using these pseudo classes, we can select the last child or last of type. Suppose this is the div button. Suppose you want to select the last button. How to select a div? something space button colon last type button last type of. Then it will click on the register button using nth of type. We can pass the which element we want to click on it. Right, we can use the last child, last of type, or nth child. We can use. These are the different Selenium questions we got in the JPMorgan. We'll continue with the Java questions. Right. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel, enable notification. Right. Thanks for watching. Hello everyone. Welcome to GB Ready Automation World. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go subscribe to the channel, enable notification for more interesting videos. Right. We have started with the JPMorgan interview questions for the automation role. Right. Previously, I have explained. Right. In the part one, we have seen Selenium interview questions. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch for Selenium questions part one. In the description, I will add the link. You can go to that video and watch that. Today we'll see core Java questions. Right. What are the core Java questions that are asked in the JPMorgan? Right. Is it possible to declare a class as a private? Right. Class we cannot declare as a private. Top level class we cannot declare as a private. Right. But you can declare inner class as a private. But you can declare inner class as a private. Top level class is one that is not declared inside another class. Top level class means is one that not declared inside a class. If you declare as a top level class as a private, you will get a compilation error. Compilation error. Right. Why not it is allowed? Because private top level class would not be accessible by any other class, even within the same package, making it completely unusable. If it is unusable, suppose if it allows, if it is unusable, there is no need to create a class. There is no need to create a class. That's why it will not allow. It will be public, and then default package, private, no modifier. For top level classes, it will be public classes only. Nested classes, it will allow as a private. Nested classes means what? Class inside a class. See, if you see here, inner class, we can declare inner class as a private. Inner class is a private. Right. Then next question is, if both throws and try catch are present, what happens if an exception occurred in the try block? If both throws and try catch are present, what will happen? If an exception occurs in the try block, right, we will get an exception in the try block only always. If we get a exception in the try block, the catch block will handle it first. The catch block will handle it first. If it matches the exception type in the catch block, suppose if you take here try block, in the try block you got the issue. Exception means it will catch all the parent, all the child class, exception and subclasses of exception. It will catch all the exceptions. If it is caught successfully, program will continues normally. The throws in the method signature is ignored for that exception. If it is not caught, the exception propagates to the caller method. That's why that is when the throws come into effect. Suppose in this case, if we take what will happen here, there is no There is no throws clause, just a catch block. And then here, if you see a risky method, we are calling here the risky method. Risky method has a try and catch. Suppose here we got the arithmetic exception. What will happen in this case? In the try block, we got exception. Catch block is executed, and arithmetic exception, it has arithmetic exception. So it will stop here. It will not come into picture. Right. Even though the method declares a throws exception, the exception is already caught inside a method. So nothing thrown to the caller. Right. Here, if it is this is not useful. If we take one more scenario, okay, one more scenario, same method. Now we are getting integer dot parse int. What we will get? A number format exception. But we don't have number format exception. Here catch block we have a arithmetic exception. In the catch block we have a arithmetic exception. Here what will happen? Whenever here exception will come, we got a number format exception, but catch block has a arithmetic exception. So what will happen? It will not, this catch block is not matched. So it will navigate to the caller function. Exception will navigate to the caller function. Right, whoever called this function, it will navigate. In that case, this throws clause will come into picture. Right, since try catch didn't handle the correct exception type, exception bubbles up to the main. That means it will navigate to the back. Whoever called this risky, who called risky method, main method. Due to throws exception, due to the throws exception declaration. Right, now it will come into picture. This throws clause will come into picture. It will throw the exception to the whoever called. Right, that is we must be understand. Right, in interview is very important. This one. Okay. Now write a program to iterate over a map using an iterator. Right, write a program to iterate over a map. Sometimes if we have a experience of 2 to 5 years, suppose, right, definitely we will get this question, how to iterate map. Right, we can iterate a map in a different multiple ways. Here, students dot entry set, we will get a set of map dot entry. Entry set means it will return a set. What type of set? It is a map dot entry. Map dot entry. Then once we get the set object, we know we can get the iterator object. Entry set that iterator. We get the once we get the iterator object, we can know while iterator dot as next and then next method. It will return map dot entry. This entry will have get key, get value. Right, get key, get value. We can use key set also. We can use the key set. We will get all the keys and we will pass one by one key to the map.get method. Will get the value. But my interview is mostly they will ask by using like this entry set with the iterator. Right, lambda expressions also we can use. Right, now next question is explain the OOPS concepts. Right, multiple times I have explained in right OOPS concepts. Encapsulation. What is encapsulation? Wrapping up of the data members and methods into a single unit. Wrapping up of methods and data members means variables, methods, these things. Right. In Selenium, coming to our page classes are encapsulation example. Our page classes are example. We can also say Pojo classes. If we have any bean classes or Pojo classes, right, those are all encapsulation because we are wrapping up of data members and methods into a single class. Inheritance, acquiring the properties and behaviors of the parent class into child class. Inheritance, what is the advantage of inheritance? Reusable code we write in the parent class, we will use across all the childs. So acquiring the properties of parent class into the child class is called a inheritance. We have single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. Different types of inheritance we have. Java will not support multiple inheritance because of diamond problem. Right, polymorphism. Polymorphism means what? Poly, many forms. Poly means many, morphism means forms, many forms. Single method, single instance or object will behave as a multiple forms. Suppose under polymorphism we have two types. Method overloading, method overriding. Method overloading means what? Method name will be same but arguments will be different. Method name will be same, arguments will be different. And polymorphism, one more thing is what? Method overriding. Overriding the parent class method in the child class. Overriding the parent class method in the child class. That is dynamic polymorphism. We have method overloading, overriding. Two types of polymorphism. Abstraction, hiding the internal details and showing only necessary details to the user. We no need to show entire code to the user. Just we can show necessary details. Suppose if we take a ATM machine, we will show only menus. We will go to ATM. We'll click just withdraw function or deposit function. So balance. That's it. Internally, what will happen? It will not show anything. It will not show. That is abstraction. Abstraction can be achieved by using abstract classes or interfaces. Abstraction can be achieved by using abstract classes or interfaces. Then how do you convert a string array to list? Suppose you got a string array. Now, how do you convert it to list? Let's suppose this is the array, string array. Now, how we will convert? Arrays dot as list. Arrays dot as list pass the list object. It can be any type of list, either int, float, boolean, double, any type of list. Arrays dot as list we can convert to list of string because it is a string type. So list of string. If it is an integer array, it will be a list of integer. But we can convert by using arrays dot as list. In Java 8, if you're using Java 8, suppose, right, we can also convert stream dot of pass the array, collect, and then collector dot to list. It will return the list object. It will return the list object. Right, we can list of string. If it is an integer, list of integer. Okay, by using stream class also we can get the list object. We can convert. Or simply by arrays dot as list. Next one is, can we declare static in an interface? Can we declare static in interface? What is its use? We can declare static in an interface. Since Java 8 interfaces can have static and default methods. Static and default methods. In addition to abstract methods and default methods, it can also support static methods. In interface, we can write static method like this. By using directly interface dot static method, we can call interface dot static. Static methods belongs to the interface itself, not to the implementation class. Static means it will belongs to a class. Right, it will belongs to wherever we have declared. If we declare an interface, that belongs to interface only. If we declare a class, that belongs to only that class. They cannot be overridden by implementing. We cannot override static methods. They are accessed using interface name. We have declared inside a interface, so we have to call by using interface name, not through object. Right, not through object. Use case in Selenium automation frameworks. Okay, these are all. the interface, it has a static method, right? That is fine. What is the difference between string buffer and string builder? String buffer and string builder. String buffer is in legacy JDK 1.0, string builder JDK 1.5. It is synchronized. String buffer is synchronized. String builder is not synchronized. Slower due to synchronization. What is synchronization? If we create the object, we are trying to add content to the string buffer, it will allow one by one only. At a time, it will allow one by one. Because of that, performance will be little slow. Because it will allow one by one, it will take some time. But it is a string builder, it is a faster because there is no synchronization. Used in multi-threaded environments, here JDK 1.5 used in single-threaded environments. Both are mutable. If you know, string is immutable, but the string buffer, string builder, mutable classes. They both are in java.lang package. Both are in java.lang package. Okay. These are all common just syntaxes. What is the difference between run and start methods of thread? If you are aware of it, you can tell yes, otherwise no. What is the difference between run and start methods? The purpose. Start methods starts a new thread of the execution. Start method will start a thread. Main method executes the code in the current threshold. And it is a java.lang.thread class java.lang.runnable interface. Creates a new thread. Yes, it will create the new thread. It will create a not a new thread. How it works? Allocates a new thread, then calls the run method internally. Executes run method like a normal method call. Call. Concurrency. Code run in parallel, code run in sequential. Right, code run in parallel. If you directly call the run method, it will just like a normal method only it will run. Multiple calls throws illegal thread state exception if called more than some threads. Illegal thread state exception called more than once. Can be called multiple times if any normal. These are the some of the difference between string buffer and string builder. Right, next one is, see, when we start a thread.start, it will create the new thread. If we call directly main thread.run, if we call the run method on the thread, it will execute like a normal method only. If we call the thread method, right here, my thread dot equal to new my thread. T1 dot start. It will create the new thread and runs the run method automatically. If we call directly run method, it will not create any thread. It will work as a normal method only. Right. What is final class? What is final class? Final class is a class that cannot be extended by any other class. Final we can declare at method level, variable level, class level. If we declare at a variable level, we cannot modify the variable. If we declare at method level, we cannot override that method in the child class. If we declare final at class level, we cannot subclass it. We cannot. Suppose if it is a final class, if we try to extend in the child class, if we try to extend this base class, it will give compilation error. We cannot extend. Right, to prevent inheritance. Right, why we will use to prevent the inheritance? To ensure immutability, to provide security and design stability. To provide security and design stability. What is method hiding? What is method hiding? Method hiding occurs when a subclass defines a static method with the same name and signature as it is a static method in its superclass. See, if you parent class has a one static method, if you same signature, if you write in the child class also, that is not a method overriding. That is not a method overriding, just a method hiding. Method hiding, that is in this case, subclass method hides the superclass method, it does not override it. Since static methods cannot be overridden in Java. Suppose if you take this is the parent, it has a static void display method. Child class will extend the parent, but here also they have written this one. Right, this is not the overridden concept, not the overridden. But if we call the object parent p equal to new child, if we call the display method calls parent plus display method only. Display is static, so it is resolved at compile time based on the reference type, not the object type. In contrast, overridden instance methods are resolved at runtime. Next one is how do you sort the list in ascending and descending order? How do you sort list? List can be sorted by using collections.sort. Suppose this is the I have a arrays.list. We can create the list by using arrays.asList. Create a list of integers. Then collection.sort. Simply collection.sort pass the list object. It will sort automatically ascending order. If you want a descending order, then what we have to do? Collection.sort numbers. Collections.reverse order. Collections.reverse order. It will reverse. If you want it directly in the ascending order, arrays.asList, list of integers. Right, that is one. And the Java stream also. Right, we can use Java stream also to sort it. Members.stream sorted to list. This is ascending order. If you want a descending order, numbers.stream sorted. In the sorted, we have to pass the comparator.reverse order. Then to list. One more important comparable comparator. This is also a important comparable comparator. What is comparable comparator? Right, if you want to sort the user defined object, you have list of employees, list of students. If you want to sort the custom objects, then we will go for comparable comparator. What is comparable? Comparable is used to define natural ordering of the objects. That is how objects of a class should be compared to each other by default. Sorting logics we have to write inside the class itself. It has only one method, that is compare to method. Comparable comparator are interfaces. Comparable interface has a compare to method. It will take the input, it will return the int. It's used automatically by sorting methods like collections.sort, arrays.sort. Suppose this is the student class. Right. Suppose this is the student class implements comparable. We need to override compare to method. Compare to method, and then just inside if I want to sort by using marks, if you want to sort by using marks, integer dot compare this dot marks comma other marks. You can write in the old way, if this dot marks greater than right, other dot marks, or else less than marks are equal, right, then we can also use, but directly we can use like this, integer dot compare. Integer dot compare. Once we create the list object, pass to the collection dot that list object, it will automatically compare. If you after calling the collection dot sort, it will automatically sort. Right, what is comparator? Comparator used when you want multiple sorting logics, actional control of the sorting. Sorting logic can be external. Comparable, we have to write it within the class only. But here we can write outside the class. It has no main method, public int compare method. The comparator will have compare method. That is the T1 1 comma T one more. Right, compare method, which will take a two objects. Then in the student class, what we can do, we no need to write in the student class, but comparable we have to write inside a student class. Here no need. Here outside the class, suppose this is the example, list object we can create, a list of students, and then comparator. Here we can create a name comparator, marks comparator. We can create a different comparator objects, but in comparable only one. Any one we can create either marks or student, but here we can create a multiple comparators. This is the lambda expressions. It will compare method. It will take two arguments, right? So S1, S2 lambda expression, S1 dot name compare to S2 dot name. Then if you want to create a marks comparator, integer dot compare S2 dot marks comma S2 dot S1 dot marks. Then we can call the collection dot sort, pass the list object, and then comparator. Collection dot sort list object and marks comparator. Like this, we can create any number of comparators. We can sort it easily. Right. Comparable is in java.lang package. Comparator is in util package. Comparable will have compare to method. It will take a single object. Comparator, it has a compare method. It will have a two arguments. Logic is we have to write inside a class, here outside the class. It is a natural sorting order. We call it as a natural sorting order. Here we will call it as a custom sorting order. Alright, like this, you can have comparable comparators are useful for user defined sortings. Right now, coming to what are the different programming questions. Different programming questions. Alright, how do you compare two map objects? How do you compare two map objects? Let's suppose this is the one map. This is the second map. Then we can compare map 1 dot equals to map 2. If both are equal, same order. Suppose if it is in the same keys and same values, same keys and same. Here 1, 2, 3, Selenium Java TestNG. Here also 1, 2, 3, Selenium Java TestNG. It will be true. Output will be true. Compares key value pairs, ignores ordering, returns true only if both contains identical mappings. Right, to compare with only keys or only values. Map 1 dot key set equals to map 2 dot key set. Only sets, key sets. Or values. If you want only values, you want to compare map dot values equal to map 2 dot values. Right. Like this, we can compare the two maps. You can use map comparison to validate API response, UI data. Right. We can compare two map objects using equals method, which checks whether both maps are identical value pairs or. Alternatively, we can compare only keys using key set to only value set, that is entry set. Write a number to check if a number is a prime or not. I think everyone knows it, how to verify prime number. What is prime number? A prime number is divisible by a number 1 and itself is called a prime. If it is divisible by any other number, that is not a prime. Suppose if it is less than or equal to 1, that means if you pass the 0, 1 negative number, that those are all not prime numbers. 2 is the even prime number. 2 is the even prime number. Now, if you see n percentile 2. That means the remainder is 0. Suppose if it is divisible by 2. Even numbers other than 2 are not prime. So it will return false. It will return the false. If it is n percentile 2 equal to 0, it is not a, if it is divisible by 2 means it is not a prime number. Then we have to compare with from 3 onwards. 3 to I less than or equal to math dot square root of n. We have to verify until square root of n. That's it. We no need to validate all the permutation combinations. It's just it will verify I percentile, n percentile I equal to 0. If remainder is 0, it will return false. If it is nothing is divisible, then return true. Right, that is a prime number. I think everyone knows about it. Prime number. How do you iterate over a collection using lambda expressions? Lambda expressions, how you will print normal way. This is before Java 8, we have to iterate. Suppose if we have a list, we have to iterate by using for each or index based. But in Java 8, we can use the lambda expressions, names dot per each name and then dollar symbol system dot println n. Using method reference names dot for each system dot out colon println. Right, like this also we can iterate the list. You can combine it with strips to proceed data dynamically. Names dot streams dot filter. If you want to filter name starts with A, I want to filter only these names. A for each system dot out printer outcome will come. Right, like okay, like this. What is buffer reader? What is buffer reader? Buffer reader is a Java class. It is used to read the text efficiently from character input string. Like files, if you want to read the files, character streams, then we can go for a buffer reader. Buffer reader extends reader. Why we use buffer reader? Normally reading characters one by one using file reader, input stream reader can be slow because every read request goes directly to underlying source. So buffer reader adds a buffer. It really chunks of data into memory once and serves from the buffer, which makes it easier. Right, buffer reader, it will use the buffering concept so that if you want to read the large files, it's very easy to read that large files. How to read is here we can use the try with catch block. Buffer reader br equal to buffer reader, and then what is the for buffer reader again we have to pass file reader object. What is the file name? Then we can take while read line. There is a method line by line we can read. br dot read line not equal to null bit. That's it. File reader reads the character from a file. Buffer reader wraps it in to make reader faster and more efficient. Right. What is the difference file reader and buffer reader? File reader is slower, buffer reader is faster. This will read character by character, this will read by line. Here we have a read line, here also we have a read line. Basic file reading, efficient file reading. And then write a program to implement a singleton design pattern. Singleton design pattern. What is singleton design pattern? Singleton design pattern is only one instance of class is created during the entire program. If we call how many times, it will still return the only one object by using singleton. How to make it? Suppose if you want to create managing database connections, logging frameworks, thread pools, driver managers, so we can use the singleton. How to create a singleton class? First step is create a private static variable of the current class. Private static final variable of the current class. Then private constructor of the current class. Then step 3, public method, which will return the current class object. Public static instance, get instance of return instance. So like this, we can create the singleton. First step is create the private static final variable of the current class and a private constructor, and then provide the public static method which will return the current class object. We can also use the lazy initialization to create the, this is a eager initialization. This is a lazy initialization. And then we can also call a double checking locking. Right, we can also create double checking locking. Right, I am not going in depth, just we can create different ways, either eager initialization or lazy initialization or double checking log. Right. Here we will check 2 times if instance equal to null and again instance equal to null. Then return. If it is null, both are null, then we will return the thread class object. Alright, remaining we will see in the next class. Remaining. Right, just to go through it. We have again TestNG framework level questions, CI/CD, SQL, API. These all will cover in the next class. If you like the video, just subscribe to the channel, enable notification. Right. If you have any doubts, or any suggestions, please comment in the comment section. I will reply to that. Thanks for watching. Coming to TestNG questions. Okay. First question is write the correct syntax for the TestNG file. What is the syntax of the TestNG file? It will TestNG file always starts with the suit name, and then we will give some name, whether it is a login suit, admin suit, regression suit, sanity suit, test name. Then we will give a test tags. Test will have a name, under that classes, then class name. If we have a methods and then include and exclude tags, we will have. This is the general high level syntax of the TestNG file. What is a data provider in TestNG? What is a data provider in TestNG? A data provider is a method in TestNG that supplies multiple sets of data to a single method, allowing you to run same test multiple times. Basically, data provider we will use for data driven testing. That means same test case you want to execute for multiple times with different test data. Suppose you want to verify login with different types of login users and passwords. Different types of users basically. Right. Admin user, normal user. Right. If you want to verify any test case with multiple sets of data, test case will be same. You want to test data will be different. Then we will go for a data provider. So to achieve data driven testing. Right, how you will write basic syntax of it? We have to create a one method and annotate with a data provider at the rate data provider annotation, give the name, and then data provider will return 2-dimensional object. It should return a 2-dimensional object. Here just we have return new object and then here username password. Right, we can get this data from either JSON file, Excel file, or DB. We can get it from data from anywhere. We can prepare the 2-dimensional object here. Right, how to use it? At the rate test and then give the data provider equal to what is the name of the data provider? Login rate. We have to give that login rate. We have 3 sets of data. So it will execute this test case will execute 3 times. 3 times it will execute. Then how do you pass parameters in TestNG? What are the ways to pass the parameters in TestNG? There are 2 ways to pass the parameters to your test methods using @parameters from the TestNG XML file or data provider. Just now we have seen how to pass from the data provider. Using parameters also we can pass the data. How to pass it in the class? This is the test case. Suppose I want to get some data from the TestNG file. @parameters, and then here we have to use curly brackets, browser and URL. These 2 things we need to get from the TestNG. Suppose I want to execute this test case with this Chrome browser with the URL. Suppose one more test case with Firefox and different browser. So we can pass from TestNG parameter name and then value. Same name, whatever we have given in the parameter, that name we have to give here @parameters. Then here how many? These are string types. So string browser name, string app URL. Here we are passing 2 parameters, then 2. We have to pass 2 parameters in the method also. If we don't pass 2, it will throw error. Otherwise, we can also make it as a optional. If you want, we can also make it as a optional. Before the string, we can add @optional, so it will become a optional parameter. Using data provider. Just now we have seen data provider, how to pass it. Okay, to create the browser and URL in the Selenium automation coming to, while creating the browser, right, we can pass browser and URL from the XML. Right. Next question is, how do you execute failed test case again in TestNG? How do you execute? Suppose regression suit is there, we have executed. Some test cases are failed. How you will re-execute those? Default behavior of the TestNG. Once the execution is done, it will create a TestNG-failed.xml in the test output folder. Test output folder, it will generate a TestNG-failed.xml file. It will contain all the failed test cases. We can right click and run it. We can run this XML file. It will run automatically all the failed test cases. This is one of the way. How do you? We can also write this is the how we will execute through Maven. We can execute, or we can execute it from TestNG. Right. Directly from the IDE, we can right click and execute, or through Maven command, we can execute. Or one more way is I retry in listener. Whenever test case is failed, it will automatically trigger again. Right. We have to implement I retry analyzer and then method override the method. Provide the implementation. Here we will have a retry count, max retry count. Max 2 times. If test case is failed, it will retry for 2 times. Retry I test result. If retry count less than max retry count plus, and then return true. That means it will return the test. If you return false, it will stop. Right. Then in the test case level, we have to use like retry analyzer equal to what is the class name of the retry analyzer. We can combine with the listener. But we can add a listener. It will, so you don't need to annotate with each test case individually. You don't need to annotate with each test case with the individual. See, we can TestNG.failed XML rerun only failed test after execution, then CI/CD runs. This one, whichever we require, we can enable that. Automatically retry. The retry listener means it will automatically retry the test cases. From CI/CD post build, right? We will have a post build. There we can give again Maven command like this. It will run fail test cases again. If there are any fail test cases, it will run it again. That we can also do from the CI/CD automatically to rerun the fail test cases. Then coming to framework level questions. Framework level interview questions. Write a program to read data from the Excel file. If we want to read the data from the Excel file, we have to add the dependencies called Apache POI and OXML. These two we need to add in the Maven file. And then Excel testdata.xlx file. Right. Nowadays we will use XLX only. Olden days we will have a XLS. Now it is XLX. So we will have a rows and columns. Excel means we will have a rows and columns. First row will be header. From the second row onwards, it will be data. Suppose this is the file path. SRC test resources test data.xr. So how you will read it? In the code, we will get the file path. Then we will create the file input stream and then give the file path. Here what we will do? Workbook factory dot. There is a class workbook factory dot create. Pass the file path, file input stream. It will return the workbook object. It will return the workbook object. Then once we get the access to workbook, then we can get the which sheet we want to run. Workbook dot get sheet name. We can pass the sheet name, which sheet we want, our index also we can pass. Then we will get the sheet. Once we get the sheet, next step is what? We have to read the number of rows. We have to iterate one by one row. So first we need to get how many rows are there? Physical number of rows. How many physical number of rows? Then column. How to get the column count? Sheet dot get row. First sheet dot get row of 0. First row is always a header row. So we can get the physical number of cells. Row count, column count. Once we get the row count, column count, we can have a loop through it. Int I equal to 0, I less than row count. And then get the row. And then again one more loop to loop the columns. Int j equal to 0, j less than column count, j plus plus. Then how to get, first we get the row. Then row dot get cell. And we will convert that data to string value. Excel cell will contain either string, number, different types of formats. So we will convert to string. That's it, simple. Then close the workbook and file input. Simple. Workbook factory dot create and then get the sheet and get the number of physical number of columns, physical number of rows, physical number of cells, physical number of cells. Then iterate it. Simple thing. That's it. What are the encoding and decoding techniques for handling sensitive data? Right. How you will handle something? They will ask how you will handle sensitive data. One thing we can do, encryption and decryption. We can suppose if we have a password or keys, we can encrypt it. We can encrypt and store it in the file, property file, and read it. While reading, we will decrypt it. Or otherwise, some other system they don't want to keep inside the code. Then we have to pass it from either CI/CD as a runtime parameters or vault system. There are some systems, there are third-party tools will be there. We can store it there. Third-party systems we can store and they will provide API. By using API, we can call those things. Here, I have explained with AES encryption. AES encryption. Here some little bit code. For encrypt and decrypt, we can write some piece of code. Suppose this is the key. Fixed key we have to maintain. This is the key. Anything we can give key, and then this is the data. Suppose maybe password. Then we can create some secret key spec and but this is the JDK, right? If we have JDK, from JDK we will get it. Then just we have to write this piece of code. It will encrypt. Then again in the code we will have a decrypt. So we can encrypt and decrypt. So this is the secret one. We should not share it to anyone. If anyone knows this one, they can encrypt and decrypt. Right. The next one is explain Selenium grid and the SAS lab. Selenium grid and the SAS lab. So what are these things if you want to execute our test cases? Selenium grid is part of Selenium suite that allows to run tests in parallel across different machine browser operating system. Basically, we will use Selenium grid and SAS labs to run across different machines, browsers, and operating systems. It helps to distribute our test execution multiple environment instead of running everything on one system. In Selenium grid means we will have a hub and a node. We have to create the hub. We have to create the nodes. Hub and nodes. Right. Hub will take the request. It will pass to the nodes. Right. From the code, we will send the request which browser, which operating system we want to run. Hub will take the request, then corresponding node, it will transfer the execution. Similarly, if we want to run, we have to create the remote WebDriver. And then what is the grid URL where grid is running and the capabilities. You have to pass the browser name platform. But we can execute on parallel on multiple browsers or single browser also. We can execute multiple test cases, cross-platform, distributed test execution. We can use grid with Docker, integrate with CSA. What is SaaS Lab? SaaS Labs is a cloud-based testing platform that provides Selenium Grid as a service. If lets you run hundreds of browser version devices, operating system without maintaining or grid means we should have a systems. Right. If we want to run multiple operating system, multiple browsers, multiple versions, it's very difficult to set up that environment using grid in our local or remote. It is a little bit difficult. But if you use the SaaS Labs cloud-based testing platform, they will provide everything, different operating systems, different browsers, different OS. Right? But it is a license. We have to take the license. Right? We can get the features like cross-browser testing, cross-platform testing, cloud-based Selenium grid. Just we require a URL. That's it. We don't need to do any setup. Parallel execution. We can test on the real devices also. We can integrate with CI/CD. It will also provide video and logs also. Right. Just we need to give the URL, SaaS Lab URL. That's it. See, HTTPS username, access key, SaaS Lab. If we have account, we will get the username and access key. Just we can pass this URL. That's it. In the if it is a grid URL, we will pass where the hub is running. If it is a SaaS Lab, we will just pass the SaaS Lab URL. And that's it. Then we have to pass the what is the browser, what is the version, what is the platform. So it will automatically run. Then next question, what are the different Maven commands and which plugin is used to configure the test suite file? In Maven, basically this is a basic question. We will get it. What are the different Maven commands or what is the life cycle of the Maven? Usually, when you execute, suppose if you execute MVN test, MVN test. This will all execute. First, it will validate the project. All the files are correct or not. Then it will compile the code. Then it will compile the test code. Then it will run the test cases. Usually we will do up to MVN test. If we have a framework, what we will do? We will do MVN install. If you do execute MVN install, it will execute all these things. MVN install means what it will do? It will validate, it will compile, it will test compile, we can test. If we want to skip, we can skip the test case execution. It will package jar file and then verify. It will check the results of integration test to ensure quality. Then install. It will install that jar file, whatever it is generated in the local repository. Sometimes you want to deploy to Nexus repository, those things, we will use a MVN deploy. MVN deploy means it will generate the jar file, it will upload that jar file to the cloud. We can do MVN clean, MVN site, MVN dependency column tree to see the hierarchy of the what are the dependencies we have used in the project, then we can use this. These are the different commands we will use in the Maven. MVN clean test. Clean, it will clean the all the previously generated artifacts and then run the test cases. Clean package, clean install. Like if you want to run with the suite file. And what is the plugin we have used? Maven Surefire plugin. If you want to execute through Maven, if you want to run test cases through Maven, we have to configure Maven Surefire plugin. Very important. Maven Surefire plugin, suite files, suite XML files, then suite. Sometimes they will ask to write suite XML files, suite file, and then what is the file we want to execute. Okay, fine. Compiler, we will have a different types of plugins we can use. Compiler plugin to compile the code, Surefire plugin to run the test case, failsafe plugin to run the integration test cases, Maven jar plugin to build the jar file, clean plugin to clean, dependency plugin to manage the dependencies, Maven Surefire report plugin to generate the HTML report. We will have different types of plugins. The next question, what is the difference between stash and pop? What is the stash? Stash is used to temporarily save your uncommitted changes without committing them. So you can switch branches on or work on something else. Sometimes what will happen, you want to take the latest code, you will get a conflicts. You want conflicts. So in that case, what we can do, we can store our local whatever changes you have, you can store somewhere. By using git stash, we can store it in a memory and take the latest code. Take the latest code again. Now again we integrate the whatever you have stashed, then again pop it. Then it will again apply on the latest code. Okay, suppose git stash. That means stash all uncommitted changes. Git stash -l. Stash is untracked and tracked files, both tracked and untracked files. Git stash list. It will show all the stashed changes. Git stash apply. Reapplies the most recent stash. Git stash pop. Reapplies and removes the recent stash. It will remove it. Git stash drop. Delete specific stash from the list. Git stash clear. Remove all stashes. Right? Git stash and git pop. Okay, fine. These are all git stash and pop. Then write a JDBC program. Sometimes they will ask what is the program. Can you write a program to connect to the JDBC program? First, we need to load the JDBC driver. then establish the connection, then create the statement or prepare statement object, execute the query, process the result, close the connection. Right. If you are using either SQL, MySQL or Oracle, we should have a connection URL, username, password, then query. First we need to do connection object, create the connection. These are all class level variables. Then class that for name, give the driver. We need to give the driver, whether it is a MySQL Oracle, we have to give the driver class. It will load the class. Then driver manager dot get connection. Establish the connection. Establish the connection by giving URL, username, password. We will get the connection object. Once we get the connection object, we can either prepare statement. We can use either prepare statement or statement. We can get the prepare statement or statement object. Then execute the query. Execute the query. What is the query? We have already here query select some ID, name, grade from students. Execute query, it will return the result set object. Then we can use while rs.next, then we can get the one by one row data. Get int, get string, get string. We have to pass the column name. Right? Like this simple code we can write, we can connect to the database. Once it is done, we finally block, we will close it. Right, then in the Maven, we have to use either if you are using MySQL connector, if you are using Oracle dependency, we need to add. Otherwise, runtime exception we will get. So we have to add the dependencies, which database we are connecting. Then coming to CI/CD and DevOps, they will ask, do you have experience in Jenkins integration? If you have idea, you can tell what are the steps you have done. Right. If you want to do setup, Jenkins setup, we have to follow. First, we have to download and install the Jenkins and install the required plugins. Configure the Git in Jenkins and configure the Maven. We have to configure the Maven, and then we can create the job. Either we can create a freestyle or pipeline job or Maven job. We can create either any type of based on our project requirement. We can create either freestyle. Mostly we will create either pipeline or Maven job. Maven or pipeline job. So we have to configure the Git, what is the repository URL and what is the Maven command. Post build, we have to give publish HTML report. Right, fine. If we are using a pipeline, you can create the pipeline. First, we need to check out the code. Check out the code from the Git, then build that, then results. Right, we can also create a pipeline. Explain different Git commands. Right, different Git. Usually, what are the Git commands we will use? Git clone, Git fetch, Git pull, Git commit, Git push, Git branch, Git checkout or Git switch, Git merge, Git stash, Git reset. These are the different Git commands. Usually we will use Git pull, Git push. Right. Mostly we will use Git take the latest code. Only first time Git clone we will use. Next time onwards, Git pull latest code, Git commit, Git add, Git commit, Git push. Right. Mostly these four commands only we will use. Git pull, Git. Then once we get the latest code, we will add our local changes and then commit the local changes and push. Then what is the difference between delete, drop? Coming to SQL queries, difference between drop, delete, truncate. Delete, what it will do, delete command, delete from employees where department HR. Use it to delete specific rows. We can use the where condition. By using specific condition, we can delete. That means by using where condition, we can decide which rows we need to delete. Table structure remains same, can be rolled back. If we use the delete command, if we want to roll back again, we can roll back. Truncate, removes all the rows from the table quickly, faster than delete. Truncate means what? There is no condition. Truncate table employees. It will delete all the data. Keeps the table structure. We cannot use where condition, cannot be rolled back. This is a DDL command. Right? We cannot, it will delete all the rows. We cannot roll back it. What is drop? Drop completely removes the table. Drop table name. It will delete data structure, constant indexes cannot be rolled back. It will delete entire table itself. Drop table name. So those are the difference between delete, truncate, drop. See, delete is a DMN command, data manipulation language, data definition language. Truncate is a DDL command. Drop also DDL command. Delete specific rows. By using delete, we can delete specific rows, but a truncate and drop we cannot. Removes the table. No, only drop will remove the table. Can roll back. Only delete can be roll back. If you delete, we can roll back. So last one is the joins. We can also expect what are the different types of joins you have used. Or they will ask specific join. Can you explain left outer join, right outer join, full outer join? Right, joins also we need to prepare it. Left outer join means what? All the rows from the left table and matching rows from the right table. If there is no match, it is still written the left table row with null. Nulls for right table, right side column. So out, what is the syntax? Select columns from table 1, left join, table 2. And then what is the kind of unique column? On table 1 dot column equal to table. Like if we take a employee department, select from employee left join department and then on employee dot department ID, department dot department. Right, we have different types of joins, left join, inner join, left join, right join, full out. Coming to API testing, what are the different API methods available in the REST assured? If we say you have idea on REST assured, they will, what are the different methods? Get to read the data, post to create it, put to update, patch, partial update, delete to delete. Head and option, this is very rarely. Head means we can get the metadata. Options means what are the different options it will support. Right. What does idempotent mean? This is also an important question. What does idempotent means in the API? Idempotent in API means making the same request multiple times has the same effect as making it once. If we call API one time or 10 times, it will have same effect. Idempotent means. No matter how many times you call it, the result remains same. The result remains same. If you call it, no matter how many times you will call. Get is the idempotent. If you call same request again and again, there is no change. Same result we will get. Delete also idempotent. Put is also idempotent. But create is a not idempotent because every time it will generate a new one. So it is not idempotent. Idempotent, safe to retry, get to put to delete are idempotent, post is not idempotent. Why post is not idempotent? Because each post request create a new resource or causes a different change in the system. That means every time we will create a new request, so that is not a idempotent. And then sometimes they will ask specific ports. What is the difference between 401, 405? 401 means unauthorized. If you don't pass the correct authentication, username, password, or token, we will get 401 unauthorized. 405 method not allowed. Instead of post, if you send put, instead of get, if you send post, we will get a 405 method not allowed. 405 method not allowed. 401 is the unauthorized, 405 is the method not allowed. Right. Some of the tips before going to the automation, hands-on practice. Right. Just to do the practice. Right. Without practice, don't go to the interview. Don't attend it. Right. If you attend it, what will happen if you go for a that is a company, important company or good company, right? You will not get again chance. Another 6 months, they will block you. So if you want to go for, choose a whichever company you don't want to go, attend such type of companies, and then give the interviews and get the knowledge what type of questions you will get and prepare well. Then only you go to right your most preferred companies. Framework knowledge, just go through the if you have 7 to 10 years of experience, just you must have framework. CI/CD. Logical thinking is everyone should have. Java programs, everyone. Behavior, right? Behavioral also important. So these are all the different questions we can expect in the JPMorgan says data. If you like the video, please click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, enable notification. Please share it to your friends. Right. Thanks for watching.